This is a life history interview for the Chincoteague Museum and for the Museum of Chincoteague Island and for the Island Library. And it's March the 7th, 2015, and we're here with Kristin Sullivan, a folklorist and curator at the Ward Museum now, and me, Ennis, Barbery, and Cork McGee. So, what is your full name? Is Cork your first name?
Carlton. Carlton's the nickname.
How'd you get that nickname?
I don't have any idea.
How long have you been called Cork?
Oh, ever since I was born, I guess. I don't know. All my whole life.
But so your given name's Carlton? Cork?
That's a real
Carlton?
name, Carlton.
Okay.
So, but if I'd walk down the street and anybody called my name, the real name, I wouldn't even turn around. I don't know why I sounded like that.
When were you born?
1931. Getting old.
You just had a birthday, right? When was your birthday?
11th of February. Getting old.
What was it like to grow up on Chincoteague? What kind of things did
Good lands. It was rough time to start with.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, didn't have nothing. Didn't have no money. When I grew up, we started out with no electric lights, no running water, inside plumbing. We used kerosene lamps the first few years.
Which neighborhood were you in? This neighborhood?
Yeah, just up the street here. I was born and raised right up here.
I always get them confused. Does that have a name? You know how there's like Madcap and there's like Down the Water stuff. This is the east side?
This was the east side.
East side?
When I was a little small, they used to call it bear scratch.
Bear scratch. Were there ever bears?
No, I don't know why they got that name. And then they changed it over to Dodge City. We used to have some rough times up here on Eastern Side, especially weekends, Saturday nights. They'd start in Friday nights and last till Sunday, and then they'd recuperate so they'd go to work Monday. Yeah, it was a lot of excitement going on them days.
What was there? Were there bars and stuff out here on East Side, or?
They were. They'd fight amongst themselves. They'd work the whole week together.
Huh.
You know, they'd get drinking and get weekends. They'd get fighting and everything else. Shoot one another. It was a mess.
What did your parents do?
Waterman. My dad was a waterman. Mom raised young'uns. She raised 10.
God bless her.
I mean, she raised, it was 6 of us. I had 2 brothers and 3 sisters, and she raised 4 grandchildren for babies.
What were your siblings' names? Your brothers and all them?
My sister was, the oldest one was Ruth, and the middle one was Charlie, and Louise, Eddie Tell's wife.
Okay. Now you said your dad lived on Assateague, is that right?
He moved over there when he was just, I think he said about 6 months old when he moved over there and lived there. Lived on there 17 years. And then the government started forcing them, buying up land and everything, and they moved to Homestead. It used to be right to the foot of the bridge.
Okay.
Just as soon as you hit Assateague, it was on the right hand side. They owned a big strip of land in there. Never got anything from it, hardly from the government.
Really?
I think he said when they lined up, they got $200 a piece. Which that's been a long time. But that's house is up the road here.
So we moved the house from Assateague?
Yeah. Moved it over here, and there's people, some strangers bought it now, and they've redone it and everything.
Is it right on East Side?
Yeah.
I think I
It's not that hard to tell you. Let's say from Wayne Drive, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 4th or 5th house from Wayne Drive.
Okay.
Going north.
But you never lived on Assateague, of course. You're too young for that.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't live on there. I spent a lot of time on there, but I never lived on there.
With your brothers and sisters, are you like the oldest, the youngest, the
I was
middle?
the youngest boy. The other two brothers, they died. Yeah, we all worked on the water, and neither one of my brothers, they never. We didn't have much in common. They didn't do any hunting. They didn't do any carving. They didn't. I don't know. They worked on the water, but that's about all they done.
How'd you first get interested in carving? I'm sure Kristin's asked you that before.
I tell you the truth, I don't hardly know. I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you did it for hunting,
I done,
right?
yeah, I made them for the hunt with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When the plastic decoys come out, I turned right over and bought plastic ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided that I got suckered. The hunters would buy a decoy from me that I had made once in a while, and I said, "Doggone, I believe I might be able to make $2 or $3 on it."
Right.
So
Yeah.
I started carving mostly ducks to begin with, and then I started birds, shorebirds, which I like better now than I do ducks. That's how I started. I mean, I'm not like a bunch of them say, well, I went up and sat with Mr. Miles. I knew Mr. Miles real well, but I never went up and sat and watched him carve.
Oh, you didn't? Huh.
I used to selling terrapins.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you work with Miles on some
No, I
terrapins?
just I'd go by myself and catch them, and sometimes Lola would go. She used to like to go with me.
Oh, really?
Catch them with a net.
Lola's
No.
his wife.
Catch them and take them out there and sell them to him.
Oh, okay.
Ah. So he had a terrapin. He had like a terrapin business too, right? So he
Yeah.
would just put those in with
Yeah,
his...
he sold them in the city
Mm-hmm.
up north, nowhere, I guess.
Yeah, I think he was real successful at that.
Yeah. I used to like to do that.
Huh?
It was a lot of fun.
Did you go to the school over on Church Street? Is that where you went to school?
Yeah, I passed for the 8th grade, and I run away from that morning. They said that I had to go till I was 16. It was a law.
Uh-huh.
And mom got on, and of course, Daddy said a little bit about it, but Mom worried me to death about it. Said they were going to call her to have to have fine and everything if I didn't go to school.
Oh.
So I didn't. I guess the first month I didn't even go to school. When school started, I passed for the 8th grade. They forced me into it. Whatever, hard. I had to go to school. Everything was going on. I didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
So the teacher that day, she wanted me to get up and read my report, some kind of report or something. I said, I didn't have none because I ain't been going.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I see you ain't out of school. I said, yeah. I said, thought to myself, I said, if you do, you'll come over on Eastern side, see me.
Mm.
So when the recess bell rings to the going into on the playground, I went out the front door and I come for Eastern side. And I went more.
Now, what were you doing instead of going to school?
I worked on the water.
Okay.
I started when just when I was big enough to go with Daddy. I'd go work with him sometimes, a lot of times.
What did he mostly do? He did oysters and crabs and just everything?
Clams,
Yeah.
whatever come up, whatever season.
Did you all go down the bay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time down there.
Yeah. Can you talk about that? What was that like?
Well, it was 2 or 3 different people on the island that owned these down the bay boats.
Mm-hmm.
They would charge you 1/5 of what you made while you were down. You go down and sometimes stay 2 weeks at a time in a little cabin, wasn't big as this, 5 or 6 head.
Oof.
That's where you slept and ate and everything else.
What kind of food did you eat on the boat?
Very poor unless you went out and killed it.
Yeah.
Mostly baked beans. Baked beans, and you took a piece of, didn't have no refrigeration, no oyster. You got a slab of cured bacon. You get a little slice of that mornings and 2 eggs.
Huh.
And homemade bread. Everybody went down and made their own bread. Knew how to make bread.
Down the bay bread? Never heard it called?
Bay bread.
Mm-hmm.
It was good too.
How'd you make that? Do you know?
Yeah, just mix flour and salt and a little bit of shortening in it. Use pure hog's lard.
Sounds sounds good to me, though.
If you've never used it cooking chicken, you've never had good chicken.
Oh yeah.
That's the best chicken in the world, cooking pure Lord. And you make it up, and it had a little stove, wasn't any bigger than that, but it had a little oven on it. And man, you could get her good and hot and put that in there, and just about quick as you put it in there, it would cook.
Yeah.
Baked like brine. It was good.
Huh.
And you had your cup of coffee, and that was it.
Yeah,
Go out and work all day and come back in for your lunch if you didn't have to work through lunchtime. Whenever you come back, the first one that come back and got aboard the boat, he was do the cooking.
He's a cook.
He had meal done for the rest of us.
Mm.
And most time you had baked beans, or that's all you got, baked beans and bread.
Yeah.
What season was it when you guys went down the bay? What was it? Summer, winter?
Both, but we always in the fall we start in October, get ready for to go down getting seed oysters. And we bring them up here and sell them to the people that own the boats. They would plant them, in Tom's Cove or out in Chincoteague Bay. And then after that was over, we'd go to Christmas when it started freezing up and everything. The oysters were freezing, they wouldn't take them, they didn't want them. After Christmas, we done whatever we could do. Did a lot of hunting and ball eating and a little bit of everything. But anyway, for to get by.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then when the weather started warming up in March, always around the 10th of March, we'd start going down signing clams. Go down the bay signing clams. And when the weather got warm enough that you could get overboard with wade clams.
How do you sign a clam?
Just you got to learn what it looks like.
Every single hole's a clam? Just kidding.
No. No. You got to learn the signs.
Yeah.
There's a certain time of year in the spring and right on up through sometimes in the summer on different bottoms, sandy bottom or mud. But we'd always call them the keyholes, a little slit in the sand and or mud. We call them keyholes, and that's how you sign them.
Yeah. You just dig there?
Just dig right down, flipping night. I saw my uncle catch over 5,000 one day signing.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, 5,000 clams. It's hard to believe, but
Wow.
I caught 4,200 one day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow. Where were you when you did that?
Down in Hoggonnet Bay.
How much money do you get for a clam?
Started out, I sold them as low as $8 a thousand.
Wow.
But we were getting about a penny a piece then, most on.
How old were you when you were doing that?
I started doing that when I was about 16. Maybe 15, the first trip that I ever went.
Right now we're doing some interviews about like World War II history. Do you remember anything about
I
what
remember
it
it,
was like?
but I mean, I was so young and I had so much more on my mind that I got called for to go twice, but when I went to take my physical, my blood pressure would go up so high they wouldn't.
Oh, really?
They didn't want me.
That's a good trick.
Yeah. I still, when I go to a doctor now, my blood pressure shoots right up.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
As soon as I go in the doctor's office, I fear the wolf. Here he comes.
Get nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? They call it white coat syndrome or something.
That happens. That happens to my mom too. She's like, I could get off
I
this.
can't help it. I mean, I know I'm real acquainted with the nurses and but everything. Just when I go that door, it starts going up.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. They wouldn't accept me. The only thing past everything, I didn't want to go no way.
Well,
I had too
maybe
much
saved you.
other stuff to do that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you remember like rations on food? And
Ration
all
books.
that?
I still got one or two of them in the house.
Hmm.
Or part of them. Yeah, I remember having to go to the store, get a can of beans, or a can of corn, or anything. You take your book and they'd tie it stamp. If you didn't have it, you didn't get it either.
Yeah.
And anything, shoes, you're like, I think 2 pair of shoes a year. Of course, I only got one. I was lucky to get that. It was little.
So what did you eat mainly then? It seems like maybe you hunted. Did you hunt more when there were rations, or?
Yeah, hunting, fishing, archery, and clams. I mean, we eat pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you ever take hunters out? Out
I
to
started in
hunt and
1957 and took them for 58 years. Hunting parties 58 years. I still get calls from them and cards and stuff, just about all over the country.
stuff? Pretty enjoyable job, yeah.
Yeah, 58 years. And
One of the best guides. From
I
what I hear.
started in 1957.
And did you take people out for ducks or turkeys or deer or?
No, just ducks,
Just
ducks and
ducks.
geese.
Yeah.
Hmm. Did you use your decoys ever, or just did you use the plastic ones?
Yeah, I used mine
Mm.
for the first few years, and then when the plastic decoys come out, they were so light and handed, easy to handle. That's some of them old ugly brand decoys there. That's the first ones I ever made. Over there.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see those.
Yeah. So you made those, you said?
Yeah, they were made out of Cork.
When do you figure you made those?
I made them in probably 1958. I think it was 1964 I made them
Did you?
decoys for the hunt with.
I didn't know you had anything that old here.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I got some in the house. I got not a whole lot of them. I got maybe a pair of each different kind of duck that I made. I still keeping them in the house. If they were her, I'll give them to.
I was gonna say, I think you told me
Lola.
one time that you used to make them for Lola.
Yeah. Ever species of bird that I made, the first one I made, I give to her. And I still got them.
That's sweet.
That was sweet.
Probably got maybe. I expect she had probably 300.
You have to go in and see his house and see.
Yeah.
I want to see the 300. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they will show them all to you because they're scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll
She
show
even
you.
has a Kristin Sullivan in
I'll
his
show you a
collection.
big lot of them.
Ooh.
Could you tell us about how you met Lola, your wife?
She was working to a little restaurant in town, right on the corner of what is the name of that street? It's a sort of a gift shop now. That used to be a hangout. It's right on the corner, right in.
Off of Main Street?
Right on
Somewhere?
right in town. Let me get my head together now. Let's see. Go past. It's almost across the road from the medical center.
Oh.
You turn down that street. I can't think of the name.
Cleveland? Montford?
Cleveland. I believe it's Cleveland.
Cleveland's the one with the grocery. Is that the one with the grocery?
Yeah, that's where
store?
Meatland is. Right, grocery.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's the little building right next to Bill's Restaurant now.
Yeah.
Right on the corner. Then it's Bill's Restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That was the hangout, and she worked there.
The Hangout. I like that.
What was that called? Was it the name of it? The Hangout?
The grill.
The grill?
Yep, Chincoteague Grill.
Nice.
I had a dozen owners or people that run it. Yeah, that's where I met her. And,
Was she a waitress there?
yeah,
Okay. And about what year was that?
1948, I believe it was. We got married in 50.
You were married a real long time then.
63 years.
Yeah, 63 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I was only 17 when I started going with her, and we went together 2 years before we got married. I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not. I used to always kid her when I got ready to go get married. I told her, I said, if anything had happened, we'd had to stop along the road. I said, I'd probably went in the woods and hid. Russell's dad took me and his mom. They stood up with us.
Oh, really? Russell Fisher's dad? That's sweet.
What was Lola's maiden name?
She was a Daisy.
Daisy.
Well, she had been married before, but her husband he turned out, he was one of them, what do you call them, tying winos. He turned out to be that. And Teresa's my stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't see any difference at all in her name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a third daughter too, right? Adelaide?
Adelaide, yeah. Well, she always lived away, and Well, she got married. She hardly ever come Chincoteague once in a while, not very often. But anyway, Theresa lived with us. I took her, and she was only 2-year-old. She called me daddy. She's my daughter. She called me daddy anyway.
You've been there for your whole life.
Yeah.
Did you ever try to get them interested in carving? Hunting? Did they go out hunting with you?
Amy tried it, but it didn't work out. She didn't care too much for it, I don't think.
Yeah. But Lola used to go out fishing with you, right?
Used to go all a lot with me. Used to go horseman sometimes. She'd go climbing with me and sat board up in the boat while I climbed.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a nice spot.
Yeah, she used to go fishing. This one thing about her, no matter where she went, she dressed up like she was going to church. I got pictures of her fishing with all dressed up.
And you did the same too, right? I'm just
Good, man. She's fussing me.
Oh.
Yeah. Or she didn't really fuss, but she said she was not back. Sometimes she ain't go with me. She all dressed up and they would go knees in my pants all busted open.
Good.
Yeah, we had good years together.
So how'd you first learn to carve? You said you didn't go see Miles Hancock. Did you
No,
teach yourself?
I went up, like I say, I sold him terrapins and good friends with him, but I never went down and sat and, watch him or anything. I don't know. Just I don't know how come they just start. The word got around that people was different ones was carving. I used to visit cigar. It was a bunch of us. They used to hang out cigars like they did here. You just go up there and he was sitting there carving and cussing and going into that mess. And I guess maybe it's some of that rubbed off on me. I don't know. He's only about 2 years older than I am.
And that was in what, like the 1960s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real early, maybe 1960 or something like that.
And who all would go and hang out with you there?
George, all of them passed away. Every one of them. George Clark, some of the Clark boys, John, and Clarence. You know Clarence Stein? His brothers. He lived next door to Cigar.
Okay.
When they lived down on Pawnee Island, down on this end. And they'd all hang out there and Cigar spin them big yarns.
I'm sure none of you all did the same.
Yeah, everybody about the same. So maybe some of it rubbed off.
And did you ever, did you know Ira Hudson at all? No.
No. I mean, he was still living, but I didn't even know him. I knew one or two of his boys, but I never knew him.
Yeah.
Mr. Doug Jester, I didn't go in sitting there or nothing, but I had been in his shop before. But I don't know what I was in there looking for.
See what was in there.
Probably went there with somebody else. I just don't know. And I had to have a rig to hunt with. So I've been threw anything together I could get together and used it. See, the plastic decoys come out, Charlie started early. They made decoys a long time ago. And you could get them then for about $1.50 a piece for a duck decoy.
Wow. And what would you sell one of your decoys for at that time? Or were you even selling then?
$10 or $15.
For a decoy? Really? That's pretty good.
And a lot of the hunters that hunted with me, they'd want to buy one, I'd give it to them.
How'd the hunters find you? Did they just word of mouth heard that you were guy?
Word passed around, I guess, and of course they wrote a lot of. I used to take a guy from work for the Washington Post sports section. Hank Burchard was his name. He wrote a lot of articles. I got a lot of them in the house that he wrote. When he'd go back, he'd write them and send me a copy or bring it to me. He hunted with me a pretty good while too. And then, I don't know, a lot of different people wrote books, magazines, the articles in magazines, like the hunting trip down here. And so I guess that's how the word got around.
You start at that, and then you end up as a Jeopardy clue. That's quite
That's
like-
right. Yeah. What was the question?
I think that was last year.
What was the question? What was the or what? Do you
Just
remember what it was?
had me sitting there, just looking, sitting here, carving. I know where. I don't know who took the picture. I don't know idea.
Probably yours. No, I'm just
But
joking.
it was on a camera because I was there carving.
Huh.
Was it a video or was it a
Video,
It was
yeah.
a video, huh?
And the question was, what is the guy here? What is he doing? And the answer to, I believe it was a lady that answered the question and said he was a whittling.
Oh, did they give it to her?
No.
Oh, good.
I guess the answer was carving.
Huh.
Or decoy carving.
Yeah.
It wasn't on there. I just wasn't very long on there. But I carried parties from scattered around, not every state, but a lot of them from up Washington State.
Wow.
I had a guy up there was he's one of the best waterfowl artists in the country.
What's his name?
Dave Hagenbaumer. So he passed away last year. He's a 96-year-old.
Wow.
Have to look him up. Yeah.
He come all the way down here and hunt with me.
Wow.
And I got like six of his artwork.
That's
One original, one rest of them's print.
pretty good though.
Hmm.
Huh.
Did you ever have groups from Europe or from outside the U.S.? Not too much.
No, I've got decoys over there.
Do you?
China, I got some in Japan, China.
Huh.
People that had come over here and I guess visiting in some kind of way. People, different ones would bring them by here and they'd get a decoy.
Now you also worked. Do you work for the refuge at some point?
I worked partially a little over 2 years. Just the way they had it set up, you'd work 700 hours.
Okay.
And then they would lay you off and hire you right back again.
Huh.
And for 7 more hundred hours. And
Well, Go ahead.
it was a good crew. It was a good job. I really liked it. That was the only study job I ever had in my life.
Hmm.
And got paid, but over 2 weeks.
Yeah. What kind of work did you do?
Maintenance work, running sand fences and barbed wire fences and work. I've done mostly in the field.
Mm-hmm.
They had little plots up in Area 5 up in that area. Of course, I done it all over the beach, but they had some plots there. They were trying different kind of feed for the grow. Even planted corn and sorghum, all different little plots.
Oh, on SD.
And I've done about every bit of farming.
I don't think I realized that they did any farming over there.
Yeah, I mean, just small lots. They make a little plot here and one here, and they have corn in one, and sorghum, and they plant a lot of Japanese millet.
What were they doing that for?
For to see if it would work, see if it would grow on there and work, so they could plant it for the birds and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't
Okay.
last too long. But that Japanese millet, they would plant that in low bottom, drain all the water right, and plant it in low bottom. And when it grew up, it grew with a seed head on it.
Huh.
Hmm.
And in the fall, they would flood it, and boy, the ducks, pintails, you wouldn't believe it.
Huh.
I mean, that place was loaded.
Wow.
This year, of course, I've been over there. I didn't go a whole lot, but I went over there a few times and looked around, just right around the trail and different things. The least ducks I ever seen in my life over there this year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No snow geese, very few snow geese.
That's true. I was looking for them too. I couldn't find.
Why do you think that is?
They drain every bit of the water right in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have. Used to be, I called it widgeon grass.
Mm-hmm.
The water in the summer, the water would be that deep.
Huh. Wow.
And I call it duck grass anyway. It would grow up, you can grow up on top water.
Huh.
And there's a lot of ducks raised there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of broods of ducks. Different. It was teal, blue-winged teal, a lot of them, and mallards and gadwall and different ducks.
Huh.
You can go there and walk all over Assateague and won't see a duck that now.
Yeah. Hardly see anything besides mallards.
They draw everything up in the summer, and they got none. But they used to, keep the water in there. It was bad. I've seen pintails and little Russell numbers, a lot of them too, in trips. Right in that Chincoteague Bay, it was a pretty big Clydes of them get up.
Really? Yeah, I know Ryan went out hunting with Russell this year, and he said all he saw was dippers. It was dippers and mallards, but the mallards weren't close enough to get. There weren't black ducks or.
I took little Russell up. I called him Little Russell because his dad was Big Russell.
Russell fish. Yeah.
But anyway, I took him up one day. I'd in the bay, and you never saw so many ducks in your life.
Yeah.
And this game warden, it was a refuge assistant manager, and he come up. He done a little hunting up there too, and his boat got loose from him one day. So I told Russell, I said, take the boat and go get his boat for him. I said, she was drifting over toward the Wildcat.
Oh no.
I said, and if he wants to bring him here in this blind, we'll show him what hunting's all about.
You did? Did he come?
Yeah.
Oh.
George Payton.
Okay.
And we brought him, put him in the blind, and we could shoot 10-point ducks. We killed me and him and little Russell killed 39 pintails and 1 black duck.
Wow.
That day. So he was only going to take 3. He said he only wanted about 3 for to eat. I said, oh, you're going to take 10. I said, no, I'm not going down the bay. We're not going down the bay with over limited ducks. But he said that was the best hunt he ever had been on in his whole life.
Huh.
But he was a game warden from the refuge.
Can you talk a little bit about the relationship between hunters here and the game wardens over there at Astig?
They did not like any of them.
Uh-huh. Do you have any stories you remember from stuff that people used to do?
Well, they'd done a lot of hunting over there.
Mm-hmm.
Sneak in there. Of course, after they put the bridge across, you didn't have much chance to go there and do anything. What would always be somebody watching.
Mm-hmm.
When they went over mornings, they'd go in a boat. And they'd count how many people was in there in the boat. When they'd be watching them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and see the same crew come back.
Mm-hmm.
If you did, you'd go do whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have many vehicles, very few vehicles on there, and wasn't no hard surface road on there, ain't nothing but sand roads.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you ever do any of the outlaw gunning stuff? Any? I have you on camera, so don't incriminate yourself.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Statute of limitations has to be up on that.
Yeah, I did. I've done a lot of it, I guess. Most of it for survival.
What were your tricks? Did you? I'm assuming you got over the limit.
I didn't worry about the limit then.
I didn't. Okay. So I know some people put ducks down their waders or do different things. Did you have any tricks to get away with?
I've had ducks and stuff when I was hunting in a blind like out in the bay. Me and Russell, Big Russell, one day, the geese was coming out off the refuge one afternoon like crazy, and we got right on Point of Course marshes, that island sits out in the bay.
Okay.
And Russell's blind was down to the south of it. But anyway, we killed 22 Canada geese, and just as soon as we get limit, I'd take them over to Wildcat and hide them in the bushes.
Uh-huh.
and we killed 22 Canada geese there one day from 11 o'clock till 3. I don't know what we could have killed if we'd have stayed there and shot them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie about it. But I was always scared. Everything I'd done, I was scared.
Yeah.
I always looked over my shoulder. Big Russell said, you were the scariest person for to do what you do that he'd ever seen. And I told him, I said, I've not been caught either, have I?
That's true. Did Miss Lola know what you were doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she knew. I mean, she knew before I ever got married, because her stepfather, took me under his wing when I was real young, and he started me out hunting. He was the main one that I really started hunting with, and we done just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
What was his
And
name?
he was the best hunter that I ever hunted with in my life.
Really?
He knew what he was doing. If you come home and told it, said anything about it, rang the store or anything, you wouldn't go no more.
Hmm.
You were dared to say anything.
Hmm.
But he was a good hunter.
What was his name?
Charles Clark. But he passed away, but he was a good hunter.
Hmm.
And I hunted with him. We hunted night and day.
Yeah.
When I wasn't working on the water, I was hunting.
Yeah.
And Lola knew it. She knew it before we got married because we were hunting together. Me and him was hunting together before we ever got married.
Mm-hmm.
And fight for her. I knew her, but I hadn't never had no intentions of marrying her or anything at that time.
Well, that was good. You were in with the in-laws before you got married.
Yeah. Well, they lived right up the street.
Mm-hmm.
She only lived, she lived part-time with her mom after her and her husband separated. Only about 3 or 4 houses apart.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go very far.
Now, how do you, once you get a duck, how do you prepare it? I don't think I would know how to.
You just got to pick the feathers off him and clean him up and put him in the, Lola, she always put them in the oven, like you bake a chicken or in the roaster and cook it till it got done.
Would you cook the whole bird or would you breast it?
Just
okay.
Clean him out good and cook the whole bird.
That's a lot of work. Getting all the feathers off and doing all that.
It is for some people, but I don't more mind it nothing.
Yeah. Which is your favorite kind to eat?
Corn-fed black duck used to be like the best, and mallard. Pintails was good duck.
Mm-hmm.
But I eat all kinds of everything when we're growing up. We eat whatever Daddy brought home when I was growing up, we eat.
Did you eat shorebirds then too?
Yeah. I paid 2 fines in my whole entire life, all the hunting and everything I've ever done. And the first fine was shooting shorebirds. And that was I was only about 15.
Huh.
And I was down to in Hoggallock Bay, board of a Dine Bay boat. My uncle was captain then, and I was crazy. All I wanted to do was kill something, get out in the marsh and shoot when I wasn't working. So I went and shot this little bunch of shorebirds. I mean, it must have been about 50 or 60. All kinds of yellow legs and everything. And we cleaned part of them and put them in the pot and started cooking them before we went out to work, so we could have them all ready when we come in for to eat. And the game warden come by and saw some of the skins and stuff from the birds laying along the bank. They went aboard the boat and searched the boat and find them. Hell, they were waiting to the boat when waiting in the boat when we come aboard that day. Nobody wasn't going to own up to it. So he said, well, it was 3 of them. He said, well, what we're going to do, if somebody don't take the blame, we're going to take the whole crew ashore. So
you took the blame?
I had to take the blame. But anyway, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
Come home and had a certain time for like 2 weeks. I had to go Eastville Court.
That's a long way.
Yeah.
And you don't drive.
No. A guy that we used to get groceries from when we were going down the bay, we'd go down and get our grub bill. And he offered to take me down there, and a couple of the crew went along too, and they all chipped in and paid. I thought it was a big fine then, $12.25. $12.25 is what the fine was.
All right, what was the second time you got a fine?
Up on Wildcat, and I hadn't done anything. They had me staked out. And what it was, I took 2, I guess they were undercover people. I went up, but nobody knew where I was going. Not one soul knew where I was going that day. Of course, Lola, she knew I was going up the bay gunning, but not exactly where I was going to be. And how they knew it, I don't know. But anyway, I went up, put 2 guys in the blind back in the marsh, and I had 2 snow geese then. So I sat out in the boat. I didn't even take my gun out of the case or nothing. I sat in the boat out along the edge of the marsh and kept watch at them. So they killed first flock come in to kill 2. The next flock to come in to kill 4. So they had 2 old limit. So I hollered at them. I was no hollering distance. I didn't. And just down the bank from it was a game warden staked out. He was hid in there, in that line. I didn't know he was there. He told me everything. When he come out that day, he wrote. He had everything wrote down in his book. Everything. And when I hollered at him, I went back to him and I went and picked the snow geese up and put them to the blind and told him it was all over with because that was all we had. When the game warden come up there and he acted like he was writing them up, but I smelt a rat anyway. So he wanted to see my license and asked me a load of questions. I said, what are you doing this for? He said, well, you give me a ticket for aiding and abetting, attempting to take over the limit of snow geese. I said, you seen I didn't take my gun out of the boat. I've never had my gun in the blind or nothing. I said, I only went back to the blind one time for to pick up the geese. He said, well, you brought them up here and put them out. I said, you attempted to get over the limit.
Oh,
wow.
Cost me $100.
Oh, that's a big one.
Where were they from? The guys who were
Up around Cambridge or up in the area somewhere. Annapolis. Larry Thurman was the game warden.
You remember?
I think of him.
About what year do you think that was?
That was sometimes in the 80s. That was the only 2 times I ever paid a fine. One for something I did do and something for that I didn't do. And I carried a lawyer friend of mine, who's still a friend. He hunted with me the whole time that I took hunting parties, and we're still good friends now. He lives in Virginia Beach. So he always told me, said, you ever need me for anything? Said, you know where I'm at, just call me. So I called him and we talked it over and he checked around and everything. He said, I think you'd be better to pay your fine. He found out that they mailed it to me and I didn't have to go to court. He said, I think you'd be better to pay the fine than you would go through all this. Because he wasn't going to charge me anything.
Yeah.
He said, you got to go to court. Up in Annapolis, I had to have to go to court.
Yeah.
I paid the fine and that was it. And he's still my lawyer. I've had a lawyer for all these years.
That's good. Good
That
friends
is
to know.
good.
I've never had to use him for anything, but, different papers and stuff. When her mom died, he took care of it.
Yeah.
Or I had. But we've been good friends, him and his boys.
You made some good friends through your hunt.
Yeah, I met some good friends.
I happened to think when you were talking about shorebirds about the different names for all the birds that you have. Can you tell us some of the different Chincoteague names for ducks and different like what's a bufflehead?
Dippers.
Yeah, dippers and
Little dipper. Hooded McGanders, we call them harryheads. The red breast with shell ducks.
I never understood that one. Why are those called shell ducks? They just are.
I don't know. That's what we always call them, shell ducks. If somebody, when growing up, somebody said, you saw some McGanders, I wouldn't even know what they were talking about. And a golden eye was a bullhead.
And a Virginia rail?
Marsh hen. Old squaw was South Settlers.
South Settlers?
South Settlers, I don't know where that come from.
I haven't heard that one.
We never called them old squaw.
Now I think they call them long-tailed ducks.
Yeah,
Keep
long-tailed
changing the
duck.
name on you.
And curlews, it was curlew then, but now they're wimbrels.
Oh.
And black breast plover, we always called them hollerhead.
Hotbed.
All my whole entire life called them hollerheads. But they went, most of the time they went, but a sign that it signed like when he hollered, when he makes a sign, they said he signed like he was hollering, saying hollerhead. That's where I guess he got his name. The green heron was called Scouts.
That makes sense.
And the white egrets was squoggins.
Squoggins. I like saying
Squoggins, I don't know where the name come from. And the black crane herons, they were wops.
And what's a mudsucker?
He's just a little shorebird.
Yeah. And did you call widgeons anything?
Ball crane.
Ball crane? Okay.
They had named ball pate, ball crane, widgeon.
Yeah, I heard over in Chrisfield they called them ball pates too. So.
Pintails, we always went by sprigtail.
Sprigtail, yep. Did you call blue herons anything?
Cranky.
Cranky?
Cranky.
Yeah, cranky. And then the red knot, we called them robin stump.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What about oyster catchers? Is that just oyster catchers?
Sea crows.
Sea crows.
Nice.
And dowitchers, grayback, they were called grayback.
Oh, okay.
Huh. What are those ones that got the really big feet? We have them at the museum. It's like right beside the boat. A coot. Okay, that's already got a cool name.
Yeah.
Let's say a coot. We call them chicken ducks.
Chicken ducks. I like that.
And then we called a surf scooter. We called them coots.
Oh, well, that's confusing.
We called them coots, but the real coot we called chicken duck.
Now what?
Does it taste like chicken?
No, I've eaten them, but they were all right. Wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But their feet, I guess you were saying their feet are like.
Yeah, they had big feet on for the size bird.
Yeah, they do. They have different names for everything.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to carve nowadays? You said shorebird.
Shorebirds.
Any particular kind?
Curlew, the marsh hen, all the little shorebirds. I like just about all of them. I've not been carving songbirds too long, but it's not overboard in the last 3 years, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know if you had any really when I first met you, maybe one or two. It was a few years ago.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, maybe I tried it, a few years ago.
Like when I first met you, the first time I came here, someone told me to get from you a marsh hen and a heron. Those are your specialties.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got to do now. So.
How many do you think you make in a month or a year or whatever?
I couldn't, no way even come close to it. I don't even know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what kind of wood do you use?
Bass.
Basswood.
Where do you get the wood from?
I got another friend that used to hunt with me, or he hunted with me all the way up till I quit. I think he hunted with me like over 30 years. From Pennsylvania, and he was in construction business. Mm-hmm. In the sawmill where he got all his lumber to do the work, his work with, he would get them to pick out special wood for me. Mm-hmm. And he'd deliver it right down here to me. I'm expecting him to come not any time. Well, Memorial Day, I talked with him not long ago, and I told him I was getting a little bit low. He said, "I'll see what I can get you something." But he's retired now, and all he does is hunt.
Good life.
But he's kept me in wood just about all the whole time, and very little expense. All I had to give him as a decoy or something like that, and deliver it right here to the door.
That's pretty good. Do you ever use white cedar also, or?
Yeah, I used it, but it's a lot easier to carve, but it's expensive now.
Yeah.
But I've used it, and if it wasn't real dried out real good, I've had it sitting on the shelf, and you could hear it snap.
Yeah.
Big crack down it.
Splits.
But that basswood, I never had no problem at all.
A lot of carvers I've been talking to carve with Tupelo these days. Have you ever used that?
No, I've maybe a piece or two of it, but that's expensive too.
It's real expensive.
Yeah, I don't. No, to the decoy show, they have a little block of basswood, maybe that long, but that's like something $45 and $50 for a little block of wood. Mm-hmm. And that boy brings me mine for a whole year's supply for a pair. Maybe last time I gave him a pair of flying teal.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he won't take any money.
Huh. Wow.
You won't take any money for it.
Now those old brand that you have on the shelf were made out of cork, you said.
Yeah.
Would you buy that, or would you make your decoys out of things you found?
I forgot how I got it. Most of that cart was given to me. It was some kind of old refrigeration cart that they said that they would get. It made pretty good decoy. It was really more ugly, but
Brand are kind of ugly too.
Brand didn't care.
No.
And all my wooden brand decoys, I sold most of them. I only got 2 or 3 left.
Huh.
But made out of basswood.
You know, I heard of carvers in other places using balsa that they would find from lifeboats after World War II. Did you ever have any of that here?
I certainly did. I used it at Break Much one time there.
Did you?
Yeah, a guy gave me. They were big and they were. I don't know how big a rind they were. And he gave me. That's what I started. Really, what I started with.
And that was in the 40s.
Yeah, it was when I first started hunting. In fact, I think that's the first when I made the first decoy was out
of balsa.
Yeah.
From a lifeboat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy gave me just a pretty good sized piece of it. And in fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe Cigar cut some out for me. I didn't have a bandsaw then. I think he did.
So he had a bandsaw. What kind of tools did you have then to carve with?
Back then, all I had was a knife, old knife and a hatchet.
And can you tell us what you use now?
A bandsaw and carving knives and one of them Fordham tools. But that's all I use. Still use the same thing.
Yeah. You use mostly hand tools, I think, right? Or what do you use the Fordham for?
Smooth them down. I do most of it chopping with the hatchet. Then I get the body cut down and shaped up pretty good. And then I use that Fordham tool to take all the hatchet marks out. Use knife for the heads and stuff.
And what do you use for the bills?
Oak.
Okay.
Got some pieces of oak and I just cut them out on the bandsaw. And they're kind of sunk in. I drill a hole and just sink them in there and they won't get broke off so quick.
I know some people have used like tong or prines from the oyster tongs. Did you ever do that or use pieces of metal or anything?
I have done it, but I like wood best. You shape it. And, but that metal you got one straight piece comes out there. And, yeah, I've tried it, but I like the wood best. And songbird and stuff like that, the bill is all one piece.
Part of the body.
I don't set them in or anything. Just the shorebirds, the herons, is all one piece.
And do you ever do feather insertion, or you carve it all?
I tried it, but
that's tough.
No, I tried that. Burning, what they call it, burning. That was too much.
And what kind of paints do you use?
I use that Joe Sonia acrylic. Best paint I ever used.
And you have all sorts of tricks, I know, for the legs. What kind of stuff do you use for making their legs?
That metal.
Yeah.
And then for the feet, I use, I got it in a little box down there. It's epoxy. I get it from taxidermy company. Mix 2 portions of it together, and when it gets hard, it's just like stone. Yeah. That's what I make the feet out of.
Yeah.
With the wire, I use anything I can find that I can make a leg out of, I'll use.
Why do you think people like your decoys so much, or why do you think people like Chincoteague decoys
I
so
don't
much?
know. Well, I guess a lot of people tell me to the shows and everything that I have the cheapest ones in the show. They won't know why I sell them so cheap. It's a guy that's last couple of years had his table set up next to me. Wonder why I sold them so cheap. I said I'd rather leave them here than take them home. Yeah. I've never missed one since they've been having it. We started out down to Tom's Cove campground in the clubhouse. It was called the Snow Goose Decoy Show then. Been 30. I thought it was 30. This would be 32 years, but the paper I think stated it was 36, but I think they're wrong. But I've never missed a show since they had it.
And did there used to be shows Are competitions on the refuge?
Yeah. That's why they started the name Snow Goose Decoy Show over on Refuge, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then they dropped it one year down to Tom's Cove Campground, or where the campground is now, to the clubhouse. They had it one year, and then they moved up to the school. But that place, I mean, you wasn't supposed to bring anything in there but a decoy, something related to the birds or ducks.
Yeah.
Lola had I didn't have it for the sale. A family up in Pennsylvania made us a quilt, and the background was navy blue, and I took one of a pad, drew them a pattern of a mute swan. I mean, it's about that long. And they put it right in the center of this quilt, and the whole family, the little children and everything, put stitches in that quilt.
Oh, neat.
I still got it. I wouldn't take anything for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
But that's pretty quilt, and the border was red border around it. And she took that just for the show. And Reggie Birch and Tommy Savage come over to my table that day. Boy, I got mad. I got so mad, I told me I'd have to remove it. I wasn't supposed to have it in there.
You couldn't just show it or hang it?
No. No, so you can't remove it. This is a decoy show, not a art or whatever you call it. Boy, I got mad. Charlie Marshall said, I thought you were going to turn the table over. I got really mad with him over it. I ain't forgot it either. I don't hate them, but I still don't like it.
I don't think I've ever seen you mad. I get scared.
Well, now it's art in all kinds of things. They've changed it so much.
And now all they got jewelry and anything you can mention there now. Everything. And the carving is going, I say all the difference in the world, the carving is just going down. Yeah. Going down all the time on here.
Are there fewer people doing it, or are they doing it differently, or what are the changes?
Just the people not fooling with it.
Yeah.
The young people's not taking it up now. Yeah. Greg Daisy, he used to be to all the shows just about. You probably know him, I guess.
I don't think he's carving anymore.
No, he's not.
I didn't get to know him real well, but yeah.
And a lot of them has passed away. Like many of them's passed away.
There are a couple carvers who just don't go to the shows. I think like Mark Daisy.
Yeah, he don't go anymore.
So some of these guys used to go to shows.
Yeah,
now they just don't.
He carved a nice decoy.
Who's that? Where does he live?
Lived up on the north end of the island.
Was it Ronald Justice?
Justice, yeah, Ronald. He don't come to the shows anymore. Nobody. Me and Russell, and I guess we're the only two really Chincoteague carvers that come. It used to be 20, must be about 20 something. Wow.
And then the mainlanders used to be Chincoteaguers.
Yeah. There's not many of them, just Jimmy Biden, he comes. He's the only Chincoteaguer that I know of that still comes. That were born and raised here. There's a lot of big changes, and it's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
Good lands. I remember like 8 or 10 years ago, but lunchtime about the first day I had everything sold in the bank.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, everybody was selling stuff. But now there's ain't much going on now. Slow.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I sell now is in the summer, and there's people that bought collecting stuff.
How do people find you now? Is it people that have been buying from you, or new people?
And a lot of the people, I'd say biggest part of them is people that's already been here and bought stuff. And they'll tell somebody else. But it's a lot slower than it used to be. But again, I don't have anything else to do. keep ice, and that's all I do.
Do you go hunting still?
Deer hunting. I give up duck hunting.
Yeah. Now, why'd you give up duck hunting?
The laws and regulations got strict. I had captain's license and all that mess. I said, I hunted all my life and sailed in the bays, and thank Lord never had a minute's trouble, no close calls or anything. And then tell me I had to get captain's license to know how to go up the bay.
Yeah. Did you get any deer this year?
One
deer?
That's all I got. I got messed up real bad.
Uh-oh.
I got a box during the muzzle loading season. I had some several nice shots, and I got messed up. I bought one little box of caps, them foreign caps, and they were bad.
Oh no.
The first 2 or 3 deer, I mean, just as pretty shot bucks, put up on her, she went far. Then I'd pull her back and shoot again. She'd go off.
Oh.
The caps was bad.
Oh, that's
I
awful.
give my buddy some. He got short, and I give him some. And he had the same trouble.
Oh.
Oh no.
Too bad.
And during the rifle season, I don't know. I told John, my grandson, I said, I guess I'm getting too old to do it. I missed once 2 deer.
Mm-hmm.
I crippled one and couldn't find it. And
Oh.
I don't like to do that. So,
Yeah, it's tough.
but he, my grandson, he's John. He's a good hunter.
Yeah.
He fixed us up with deer meat this year.
Oh, good. Good.
That's real good. Yeah, growing up in West Virginia, it's like around Thanksgiving and stuff, everybody was gone deer hunting.
Yeah.
I was like the only person in school.
Yeah, I like deer hunt, but I don't know how much longer we're going to do it. This past year, I still get up in that stand, 16 foot off the ground.
Where do you go to hunt?
We got it's 4, 5 of us has got a farm rented. We've had it rented for about 20 years, close to it. Same farm, just on the place we hunt.
So you were saying you cleaned the lighthouse lens.
I used to. Mr. Norman Jones was lighthouse keeper then. He was in the Coast Guard, and he would take me and Gene Murray was a friend that lived up the road here next to me. And we grew up together, and he would take us over to shine the brass on the inside of that lens.
Mm-hmm.
All we done was use that, what do you call it, brasso,
Mm-hmm.
and just shine it until you got it shining real bright.
Now, how old were you when you did that?
We were about 13, 14.
So that must have been fun. I
For to go up the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We could run up there just right then.
So they didn't get you to clean the glass, just the brass part of it?
Yeah, that's what we cleaned was the brass.
Brass,
Yeah.
not the glass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the floor down in there, they had 2 big generators down in the bottom and when you went in the door. And we'd sweep up in there and clean up in there, and he would start them up and charge the batteries up.
Mm-hmm.
He had a big pile of, great big pile of batteries that they charged up for the light to work on.
Oh,
They had
wow.
2 big gasoline, but they were gasoline motors then. But had them, and they run them the whole time we were there for to charge the batteries up
Huh.
to last that light. I don't know how long it would last. But anyway,
I wonder what kind of batteries they're on.
we'd go there with him, and just for to get to go for the trip.
Yeah. So he didn't pay you anything?
No,
That was a good deal for him.
yeah, that it was.
So- Well, we got this going. What was the village like of Ronassateague? Do you remember anything
Well,
about
I
it?
remember some of the old houses, but I don't remember anybody living in them.
Mhm.
The last two people that I knew lived on there was Mr. Scott and his wife. They were the last 2.
They left in what, 43 or so, 44, something like that?
I don't
Somewhere
know.
in the 40s.
Hmm.
He outlived her a pretty good while.
Yeah.
But it's something is in my mind. My uncle, when the Fish and Wildlife first bought the refuge, or when they bought it, the first caretaker on over there was my uncle,
Oh, really?
Olin Williams.
Now, did he work for the refuge?
He worked for the government.
What did the people on Chincoteague think about that?
Well, he was just a caretaker. I mean, he lived in the old Coast Guard station before they tore it down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by the Pony Trail.
Yep.
He lived in there, and I went over once in a while. And I don't know if Sonny went or not, but we were real small, just for keeping the company.
Mm-hmm.
we'd spend the night with him or something. And he was the first caretaker, but they got it down. I don't see, can't find it nowhere. But he had it before Herbert Bucklew come over there.
I didn't realize there was anybody before Bucklew.
My uncle was the caretaker of the refuge. He had an old black mare that he rode around on. Because didn't have no vehicles on there then.
Yep.
What was his name?
Olin, O-L-I-N, Olin Williams.
And what were his responsibilities?
To keep people off and take care of things on there.
Okay. Okay, come on.
Daddy would sneak over there, and there was a big pond they called Station Pond right next to it. It run way down in the woods. Dad would sneak in there sometimes and shoot ducks in there, and boy, he would get mad. He knew who it was, but he never could get up with him for sure.
So that was his brother. What do you think he would have done if he did catch him?
I died if he'd done anything. Not like that.
He's gotten mad.
But he had an old black mare, a big horse. That's what he rode around.
Did many other kids get to go over to Assateague, like and go up the lighthouse or do the things that you did?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Me and Gene Murray was the only two that I knew of that would go help him.
That's pretty neat. Then, when did people start going over to the White Hills? Or did you ever go over to the White Hills?
Yeah, that was a long walk. Had to walk all the way up there. Of course, what we would do would go up, sail up that creek. James Creek is called, up to the north of the bridge.
Okay.
There's a creek goes in under the beach lake.
Okay. Go
up there in the boat and walk through the woods, and we had a path through there, and you go right to the White Hills.
And what would you do up there?
Just play. Get up top of them and slide, run down it, roll down it.
Have you heard of?
Yeah, I've heard of the White Hills.
Okay.
Now, what about the Red Hills? Those are two different ones, right? The
Red Hills across the bay.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay.
Not too far from Captain's Cove.
When you were younger, do you remember Red Hills being like an entertainment place?
Had sort of stands in there. Yeah, and they used to have speedboat races.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
A lot of different people had inboard speedboats. And they'd have races. A certain time of year they'd have that race.
That's fun.
And they had stands. I remember going there before they took stands down. But I don't remember when they were open going full blast. But I do remember they had them speedboats. Different ones had them. Harold Tar, he was supposed to have had the fastest one, I guess.
What about the horse races? Do you ever remember horse races at the carnival?
That I do. That was entertainment. That was real good entertainment.
Who got to ride in those?
Good lands, they had a lot of different ones.
But it was people on Chincoteague.
Yeah. Young boys, most of them, as far as I know, gone. He's passed away.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that used to ride them, boy, they'd fight and everything over who won.
Bet they would.
Is there anything we're missing? Any exciting something from Chincoteague history that we're not asking about?
I don't know. Whatever you ask me, well, I answer you best I can.
I think that's just about all we've got.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cork. Okay, I want to know first before she starts. What are you using for these?
Using stands that they use in the graveyard for put flowers on.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
The girl that's got a flower shop, I think she's on Chicken City Road over there.
Yeah.
Joe Sue. She saves them for me if they get bent up or anything.
Oh,
I use them for legs.
Very resourceful. All right.